follow the flame. Now tell me when the candle goes out of frame. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Fabulous job. Now tell me when the candle goes out of frame. Very good. Very good. Very good. Now tell me when the candle comes into frame. Very good. Yes. Or that. This. Or that. Last one. This. Or that. Hey, doll babes. You have something on your face. May I brush it off for you? Okay. Let me just. Almost. Almost. Got it. That she had taken the trouble to be born was not enough to guarantee Elizabeth, daughter of King Henry VIII, the resplendent existence of an English princess. True, her birth on Sunday, 7th September 1533, was greeted with bonfires, interminable peals of bells, and a solemn Te Deum in St. Paul's Cathedral. Less than 3 years later, however, her mother, Anne Boleyn, was beheaded on the grounds of adultery, and the little princess forfeited her rank. Drama was the hallmark of life with Henry VIII, the king who had 6 wives, of whom 2 were beheaded, 2 divorced, 1 died in childbirth, and only the last prevailed. His 3 children had 3 different mothers. The eldest, Mary, was the fruit of his first marriage to Catherine of Aragon. Elizabeth was the daughter of his second wife, and his third wife, Jane Seymour, gave birth to his youngest child and only son, Edward VI. Elizabeth was 17 years younger than Mary and 4 years older than her brother. If we are to gain an understanding of her childhood, adolescence, and reign, we must go back in time and recall the volcanic family from which she sprang. I will be reading 2 more paragraphs from Elizabeth I and Mary Stuart, The Perils of Marriage. Elizabeth was a Tudor, a member of a family that had come to power thanks to the drive and initiative of her grandfather, Henry VII, and to the fact that the laws of succession prevailing in 15th century England were not too well defined or restrictive. Primogeniture, so firmly embedded in the royal traditions of France, was not recognized as a sufficient and necessary entitlement to the throne of England. Hence the long power struggle waged by the descendants of Edward III. Royal authority was weakened by this civil war known as the Wars of the Roses. The Lancastrians, the line that produced Henry IV, Henry V, and Henry VI, took a red rose as their emblem, whereas a white rose symbolized the Yorkist branch of Edward IV and Richard III. Whoever wore the crown had to resist the unremitting pressure exerted on him in turn by the great rival houses of Lancaster, York, and Warwick, which maintained veritable private armies. On 22nd August 1485, when Richard III was killed by Henry Tudor during the last battle of the Wars of the Roses, Henry, the last of the Lancastrian line, seized his opportunity without hesitation. Lord Stanley, who had facilitated his victory by deserting the king's party, retrieved the crown from the dust of the battlefield and placed it on his head to resounding cries of "Long live King Henry." The new king set off for London, determined to assert his rights, somewhat dubious rights, as he himself was only too aware. He based his claim to the throne on the lineage of his mother, Margaret Beaufort. Margaret was the sole descendant of the Beauforts and a great-granddaughter of John of Gaunt, Duke of Lancaster, the fourth son of Edward III. During the oppressive reign of Richard III, fearing the life of her son, the posthumous son of Edmund Tudor, Margaret sent him to Brittany, where he persistently plotted to reinstate the House of Lancaster. Having succeeded at the second attempt, he asserted his authority in the simplest manner. He proclaimed himself King Henry VII, summoned Parliament in November 1485, and, without entering into the details of his succession, argued that his victory had manifested the will of God. Henry's decisiveness, coupled with general lassitude and the fact that Richard III, the last sovereign of the Yorkist line, had not only left no descendant, but contrived the murder of his nephews, the sons of Edward IV, clinched matters in his favor. It was only then that he married Elizabeth of York, thereby ending the rivalry between the two clans once and for all.